It is the Matt Mosley Show, the YouTube extravaganza. And Kevin Hall and I are with you. We'll guide you through these storms. The storms are mounting. You can hear the wind howling outside my window. Kevin is out here in the land of Robinson, right on the outskirts of Waco, bracing for the winter weather. Kevin's kind of lived all over, so I would imagine at some point he had some cold weather. In fact, Kevin, you kind of flirted with the idea of living in Colorado. That would have really put you in the path of some. And those kind of states are just more prepared. We are not.
Right. Yes.
Grocery stores. I've seen the pictures. I've seen. I'll pick the grocery store this afternoon that still has. If they have Fritos and like a few different kinds of dip and like a little pimento cheese, I'm okay. Myself, like in feeling the need to stock up on like 50 rolls of toilet paper. That seems wasteful and a little bit idiotic to me. Now,
there is a psychology to this. Now, coming from Indiana, where we get a lot of snow,
somewhat cold. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We've been snowed in, declared a state of emergency one time, so I went to take the dog out, and it was like deathly quiet when we were like living right next to the highway. It was so freaky. But there is a psychology that's strange to this. First thing that people grab when they go to the grocery and they hear this is going to be a thing is milk and bread. These are perishable items, not something that will keep you okay for weeks at a time if you happen to be stuck inside. The reason people do this is a self-assuredness that it isn't going to last that long. That's why they get the perishables, because you're telling yourself it's not going to last that long.
Interesting. We can make, there'll be an end to this.
Right.
But the people do it, that's not in their mind. You might have read the psychology, but when they're doing it, they're actually in their mind thinking this is going to help us get through.
Yes. Exactly.
You're saying this signifies sort of the end of it. That's interesting, Kevin. I didn't know you were going to get all philosophical and bring that sort of psychology to the show today, but that's nice. It's going to get really, really cold. We're all going to be okay. We can drip our faucets, unhook those hoses, put some, I've got that little stuff you put, almost looks like a floaty or something. Mm-hmm. That stuff you kind of put over the pipes
I can't confirm this, but I've heard that if you use a Whataburger cup, it basically works the same. Just put the Whataburger cup.
I'm glad you said that. I did that the other night. Now we had a guy had to come over and do some plumbing on something, on like a little outdoor leak, a little back leak or whatever. And I don't think he's finished, by the way, although he's turned the water off back there on that. So I think we're okay. But I had put a cup over it. I think it was like an actual Hat Creek cup instead of Whataburger. And I thought, and I didn't even know that other people did that. I kind of thought, well, this seems like it might work. And so I'm glad to know other people think that as well. Now, as I said the other day, I'm not someone who looks at my shrubs and goes, oh my gosh, I will do anything in the world to save these. I don't, they're not that great in the first place. All right. And so this going and getting these beautiful looking, those nice looking covers, that is not something I really worry about. Is there a chance I'll get a wild hair later tonight and go put some blankets out over them, over the shrubs? Maybe. I've done that before. It's I think it's overthinking it, but I think it makes my wife happy to see me like sort of acting like I care about the house. I mean, I care about life in general and about my child and my wife, but about like protecting the shrubs, it's really probably not a top priority, but I'll give it some thought just because it's kind of just fun to do things during this. Really, let's not, people act like they're scared and this is a scary time and maybe anxiety will go up, but people are secretly just really excited about this. Like they just kind of want to see, okay, how bad is this going to be? And what does this mean? And when you have kids at home, and Kevin still does, maybe for the next 25 years of his life, but possible snow days are fun. Now you get a kid that goes off to A&M like I have, and you have to just kind of deal with talking to them from afar and seeing what they're thinking about class. And I'm trying to get her to go to the basketball game tomorrow that has been moved to noon. Now, I got a couple things to start. I'll get to this Gary Patterson news because he's on a flight to USC to Los Angeles, and I just talked to him. And so, Kevin, we may have, I still don't love our breaking news sounder, but we may have to go with what we have on that front. Some of these games that have been changed, the Baylor women, since we do a lot of Baylor here, I'll mention this. That game, and there's all kinds of games, NBA and otherwise, that have been moved up. In fact, in the NBA, the Wizards and the Hornets on Saturday, that game has been moved to noon. As far as I know, the Mavericks hosting Luka and the Lakers, that game is still at 7:00 over at the AAC. All right. The ACC has moved up start times for 3 men's basketball games on Saturday. That's Wake Forest at Duke, UNC at Virginia, and Virginia Tech at Louisville. All right. And then here are the big women's games you should know about because one of them involves us. The Baylor women's, the Sunday game. Okay, excuse me. Yeah. The Sunday game where they were where Baylor's hosting Houston has been moved to Tuesday. All right. And that's when the weather will have broken by then. I think by Tuesday, especially by Wednesday and Thursday, it's going to jump back up there in the 50s and we'll all be fine and we'll all go on with our lives. But that game, that's a significant move. Now, the Baylor men's game Saturday, TCU coming into town, that has stayed at 5 p.m. All right, we're going to stay. I know they were meeting about that yesterday. David Kay, the basketball administrator for Baylor, was going to meet with the coaches and talk to everybody, but they're staying at 5. Only change I've seen with this one is that instead of being on ESPN2, Kev, it's going to be on ESPN, big ESPN. Maybe it's because they moved a lot of those games. It's not exactly, with all due respect, given how those teams are playing right now, that does not feel like a marquee type game. But whatever, put it on ESPN. I hope Baylor plays great and the Bears can improve their conference record to 2-5 and then start climbing their way back in this thing. Kevin, I will say, in radio, we used to call this like back promoting. We had an interview with Scott Drew yesterday, and I'm proud. And this is Mosley's bragging. It's more about like Rogue and our show, Kevin, more than bragging on myself. I'd like to think it is. Maybe a little bit bragging on myself. I love the fact that whether it's Doug McNamee or Joe Klanderman, the new defensive coordinator, or Scott Drew yesterday, it's like when there are major Baylor things happening and conversations that need to take place, I do think most Baylor people, especially the Baylor right now administrators and the SIDs over there, kind of think of our show first. And I'm very appreciative of that. And I like, hey, we're all in, we don't do this just for, we're all, kind of competitive. And I just am appreciative that, people, when they're ready to kind of come on, and the new AD at Baylor, when he's going to do his first media interview, and he's done others since he did ours, which is great. It's fine. But I love that he started with the Mosley Show. And hopefully that's from years of trust and knowing these folks. And also maybe they know that we're going to ask all the right questions. We're going to be respectful, diplomatic, all of those things. And I think there's a certain respect level that is about this show. So I'm appreciative of that. Reminder, Cowboys, we had this right as the show started yesterday, the hire of the new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker. In a usual time when we don't have AFC and NFC title game, and we have an interview I'm going to roll out with Jarrett Stidham, I'd probably get all my Eagles people on and find out more about him. I'll tell you what I'll do. Monday or Tuesday of next week, and I know we'll be reacting to the NFC and AFC title games, but I will book one of my big-time Eagles writers or reporters, and we'll find out more about this Cowboys defensive coordinator. 34 years old, went to school at Richmond, and I'm told that's where very smart people go. Reason I bring that up, Kevin, is because that's where our own Pete Souza played college football. So I don't think you can go there and go in there like with bad grades and stuff. I think you, in addition to needing to be a good athlete, you have to be pretty smart. And so our own Pete Souza studied and played at Richmond. That is where this guy came out of. So maybe Pete Souza will have Christian Parker on soon. But very cool to have Christian Parker, the new defensive coordinator of the Cowboys. And all the reviews are coming in. People brag on him, and that's all great. You know, again, it'll all come down to, can they stop anybody? Can they improve? The good news is you want to follow Matt Eberflus. You want to follow a defense that gave up over 30 points a game. All right? That's a great act to follow. They say you don't want to follow a legend. All right? That's why it was a tough job for Nicky Collin to come in and take over. I mean, it would have been tough to follow Scott had he gone to Kentucky. Following Kim Mulkey, not an easy assignment. All right. And by the way, the good news is Baylor's sitting here number 14 in the country. I mean, are they as dominant and as good as the program, as dominant, as good as it was under Kim? Well, no. I mean, come on. What did you expect? Did you think they were just going to okay, we're still going to be in the Final Four or the Elite Eight every other year? No, there was going to be some expected drop-off. The good news is it has not been a huge drop-off. It's just been about what you'd expect. But she's kept the Bears in there, and she keeps bringing in players that keep the team relevant. All right, Kev, we do have, let's hear the breaking news sounder. And so ridiculous. This was first reported by friend of the show, Matt Zenitz, from On3 and CBS.
It was first confirmed. We actually broke the news before it happened yesterday.
When did I break the news?
Well, it was one of my questions in Campus Confidential. You kind of corrected me that it wasn't, but in a preemptive sense, we were
because on the screen, I remember when we put that up, it was like it had already happened. So I might have thought we would jump the gun a little bit, but look at him. Oh my gosh, the men of Troy. He's a Trojan. The new defensive coordinator of USC is none other than a friend of the show, great friend of mine, Gary Patterson, will be calling the defense, and he's back. He just got put in as in the College Football Hall of Fame as all his years there at TCU, all the success he had. And he's taking the job at USC. Bruce Feldman came out today and said, hey, this is actually happening. I don't really like to put, as you found out yesterday, Kev, or 2 days ago when Baylor released his schedule via DM, I don't really like putting stuff like that on the screen. So today, when I saw the Patterson news, I said to Gary, look like it's happening. Can you jump on my show at 1:30 or 2? He responded within 1 minute. I am already on a flight to SC. Time to work. All right. And so I put that out on, let's see. Oh, wait, did it? Oh, here we go. Yes, I can confirm reports from Bruce Feldman Zenitz that TCU coach Gary Patterson will be the new DC at USC. He's on a flight to Los Angeles as we speak. Now, I don't know what's going on. Maybe things are frozen here, Kev, because that tweet right there should have like 30 or 40,000, likes. And I will tell you it's not quite there yet. I feel like that. I don't know. I don't know what the algorithm's doing out there. I'm afraid people are distracted by the weather. Now, good news for the NFL, though. Kev, first of all, you got an AFC title game in a place where they understand cold weather. They'll be plenty prepared. There'll be no holdups. They won't have to move the game. Everybody around there knows, like, they know how to put chains on their tires and things like that. So there's no issues there. And the game in Seattle will be fine. The weather does not look, too crazy for that one. And yes, Kevin, thank you. I prefer these logos. Although I did get a kick out of your recent whatever you were doing, where you were doing some humorous logos. I like the actual logos for these teams, and there they are. Although I don't know if I love the new logo, what they did with the LA Rams. To me, I know what they're doing, and I think in the world of graphic art now, they want really clean, refined, almost spare type logos.
Okay.
And to me, that doesn't totally look like the Rams that I know. That looks very strange.
As they returned back to LA, this one is supposed to kind of have a look of a wave, like you would see at LA Beach. That's kind of the idea here. But the Rams were the first to actually have a helmet design, a design on the helmet in history.
Yeah, and that's why it was such a cool. See, it's funny you say that, Kev, because like when you're a kid, you fall in love with like uniforms and the way certain colors look and that kind of thing. And that's how I fell in love. And Kevin, you had not joined us quite yet, but with the 79 Pirates, because of the piping and those like train looking ball caps that they wore, and that We Are Family. That's one of the first World Series I have memories of, because I was about 5 or 6. And so I actually have memories of that World Series. Same with the Rams. Never was a huge Rams fan, but my first memory of a Super Bowl, I wish I could say it was the Cowboys. It's not. I do have memories as a child of Vince Ferragamo and the Rams playing against the Steelers. Vince Ferragamo was the Rams quarterback, and that was that old classic. And that would have been the Los Angeles Rams. That was, of course, before they became the St. Louis Rams and then came back to the Los Angeles Rams. But that was the old school Ram.
Yep.
Actual look like a ram.
Mm-hmm.
Be like the LA tennis tournament or something.
One thing I do appreciate as a graphic designer myself is the use of the lateral space in all 4 of these logos, right? As the helmets have gotten all the, safety holes across, you kind of need to work the more lateral side. So all of these kind of do that. They work the horizontal angle of it a little bit better. Although, wouldn't it be great to have all of them in throwback uniforms for this conference championship? That'd be pretty sweet, right?
Well, yeah, but let's keep in mind that the Seahawks haven't been around as long as other teams.
But those silver helmets.
Yeah, those are fun. I'm just trying to think of the old blue. I'm thinking of like Dave Craig and and throwing to who was the Steve Largent, the great wide receiver. I do think there is a chance. What do we know what Denver's playing in Sunday? Surely they've announced the uniform, because
sure.
that is a throwback looking. When they're in the orange jerseys, that's total throwback. I mean, because those are the Orange Crush jerseys right there.
But the robot looking horse, though, I'd much rather see the D with the horse coming out of it, and the lighter blue instead of the navy.
The lighter blue. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I'm trying to think why when I picture certain Cowboys players when I picture Denver, and for some reason I think of Butch Johnson, who was a great Cowboys wide receiver with Drew Pearson, and he would do this thing called the California Quake. He had a great little dance. It was back for a while they didn't allow in zone dancing, but back in the day they did. And Billy White Shoes Johnson from Atlanta had a fun one. Butch Johnson had the California Quake, was a great one. And then I want to say Butch might have ended up playing for the Broncos at some point back in then. But anyway, my brain's firing all kinds of different directions. While we're thinking about this, Kev, and while I'm looking at this logo, let me talk about Sunday's game. Now, the first game starts, and you can keep that up there, Kev. I like, oh yeah, there it is. I like Kevin's he can move all these things around. That's why you need a graphic designer as a producer, because he kind of in his mind has some thoughts on how the screen should look and where the breakdown should be and all that kind of stuff. And by the way, one of the things I love down there is Central National Bank, the great clean lines of CNB. And Kev, remind me, you and I need to have a little, I keep forgetting to do this. We need to get those. We got those really fun, cool new commercials from CNB, and we got to figure out a way to get those where we need to have those. But Kev, in thinking about Patriots Broncos, Patriots favored by 4.5, mainly on the road because Bo Nix is not playing. Jarrett Stidham, who will be joining our show at 2:00 today. We're going to let you see, I think you're going to enjoy this, an interview we did here at Rogue Media Network just a couple of months ago. Jarrett Stidham happened to play for Belichick, play for Sean Payton, play for Baylor, play for Auburn. Baylor and Auburn were playing earlier this year, and it turned out to be a fun, great interview. What we didn't know is that he would be starting in the AFC title game. So what we're going to do, and we don't do this a lot, but when we have a really cool, great interview, I thought, by the way, that a lot of people were talking about our Scott Drew interview. Kevin, I should stay off message boards. I happened to get on Sick'em 365 last night, and this very much hurt my feelings, and I think it'll hurt your feelings too. Some people think that I should be more concise with my questions. Hurtful, and probably, by the way, good advice. But I've only been doing it this way now for like 20 something years. I don't imagine it's going to change that much, but hey, we can all learn. But I do have a tendency, while getting ready to ask a question, I have a tendency to make a lot of points while getting ready to ask a question, which leads sometimes to the comical thing where I've probably ended up almost forming 3 different questions, and the interviewee then has to kind of pick which question they want to answer. Now, when I'm locked in, when I'm really focused and the ADD or whatever is not kicking in as much, I can kind of zero in and really dig in on things. But I do have a tendency to kind of, and that's what happens when you let a man come on and speak 2 or 3 hours every day. He tends to do that in interviews as well. But I did think Scott, I mean, there's things I know that probably make the Baylor fans mad. I think there were some things he said that made them feel better. He vowed that this thing was going to change and that they were going to win again. And that's what you need to hear. That's what you need to hear. And plus, Baylor fans need to be reminded that they did win a national title just in 2021. And it seems a little too soon to completely be getting ready to turn on Scott Drew, a man who, and I'm not saying most right-thinking, calm Baylor fans understand that you're going to go through some tough times. But I think this is tough because, Kev, football was so bad, and it was just, having gone through that, and then on the heels of that, men's basketball is supposed to be something that always, gets us excited again. And
I understand as an IU fan.
Yeah.
All these years.
Yeah, although you don't understand that much right now because you were still in the euphoria of an Indiana national title as the Hoosiers continue to bask in the glory. And Kev, I did notice they came out with the top 25 portal classes. LSU ESPN just put this out today. I was looking at it. I should say, I'll tell you what, I'll save this. Okay. We're getting ready to do our Campus Confidential. And Kev, I'll let you know where Indiana came out, Texas Tech, LSU, Texas A&M. Did Baylor make the top 25 of the portal rankings? That is next.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety.
So you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. When it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. But with the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Don't buy from social media ads unless the ad is from a verified company. When you click those ads, you open yourself up to fraud. If it seems too good to be true, it almost always is.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com. Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's KITBAG.com. Kitbag.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Tusanes.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
It is the Mosley Show. It's a special Arctic Blast show. I mean, Kevin and I both are capable of working out of our home studios. The hope is that we don't lose power. The grid holds up. That would be the only thing that could undermine us Monday. I could see, Kev, a situation where the rogue offices are shut down Monday. I don't think that order has been put out yet. I could see that happening. In fact, right now I've mainly been focused on the Metroplex, the polar vortex that's about to reach us. So I don't totally know what's happening in Central Texas, but it's enough that you would move a Sunday Baylor game to a Tuesday. So obviously something is happening in Waco. So Kevin will continue to monitor it for our Central Texas audience. I'm also keeping in mind College Station. We have a loved one. In fact, our own beloved daughter is a freshman at Texas A&M. So keeping an eye down there. They have people, news people that I'm kind of getting to know down there. I used to, in Waco, I always trusted the weather from, I think it was Rusty Garrett. Always liked his work, always did some really good work. And there are others, but his name comes to mind. And now there's another Rusty down in College Station. And I can't remember his last name, Rusty Surratt or something. Anyway, I like what he does. I can't remember if it's weather or news, but he's a College Station Rusty Burson, Rusty something, but Rusty does a nice job out there. If you're listening to us, watching us in College Station, you'll know who I'm talking about. Give him a round of applause. Kev, I just sent you that breakdown of the top 25. We don't have to do it immediately in case you're trying to do a little graphic or something with it, but the top 25 of the portal in college football for 2026. There's still people that went in the portal that haven't come out of the portal. There'll be a couple of little tweaks here and there. We'll be able to show this to you. I'm sad to report I did not find the Bears on ESPN's rankings. Now, maybe on 3 or something else, maybe they do show up. They were in some places had them as high as 23 or 24. And unfortunately, on this ESPN list, they are not in the top 25. So we will get rolling here with something we call, just a reminder, Jarrett Stidham happens to be starting for the Broncos. Used to play for the Patriots, so it's hard for me not to say. But anyway, the Denver Broncos, he is starting. They're hosting the AFC title game, and I did a one-on-one with Jarrett Stidham with the help of Scotty. Scotty had kept up with Stidham over the years. In fact, Scotty was, he was just maybe graduating from Baylor around the time Stidham was showing up at Baylor. So I think Scotty has maintained a relationship with Jarrett Stidham over the years. So I want to give Scotty Swingler some credit for helping us land this exclusive interview. This happened a couple of months ago as Baylor was getting ready to play Auburn, and we had a good visit with Jarrett Stidham about his time with playing for Bill Belichick, about his time with Sean Payton and the Broncos, what Bo Nix was like. A lot of interesting things that came out of that interview, and we thought we would share some of that with you today. We'll have Jarrett Stidham with us, right around 2 o'clock. But without further ado, I would like to do a little something we call Campus Confidential, and that's when we bring on Kevin Hoosier Hall. Kevin, what's on your mind today?
All right. I actually also talked with Cam Stewart, producer of the Pete Sousa show, and has his own Wicked Boston show. Sorry, you got to say it, Wicked Boston, here on the Rogue Media Network. He actually took a couple classes with Jarrett back in the day, he said. So here we go. Fox Radio, not too kind to to IU of Fernando Mendoza. Here is the latest thing to come out. This is from Ben Mahler. See what you think about this.
A Heisman Trophy winner. Did he lock himself in as the top pick in the 2026 college draft based on his performance in the national title game? Did he lock himself in? So I looked at it. I watched the game. I was like, no way! Mendoza looked like he was playing in a straitjacket for a good chunk of this game. Now, Miami did take some liberties. The officials showing some bias towards Miami allowed them to just, in modern football, that was played like old school football. I was like, I'll just take some shots at the quarterback. We'll look the other way. We're going to look the other way. That's it. Mendoza, though, finished with 186 yards, 0 touchdowns, and a passer rating of a little bit above 80. That's it. That's not the stat line of a number 1 overall pick. It's not. And that's like a guy auditioning for a backup job for the CFL team in Edmonton is what that is there. And the other problem is he didn't pass the eyeball test. You saw the stats tell one thing, but the eyeball test, and I'm never wrong with the eyeball test, it just didn't look. He failed the exam. Didn't feel like a big-time NFL quarterback prodigy right around the mountain here. And he looks, in this game, and really the talent level was a 4th-round pick. It's a developmental quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. You draft him in the 4th round, give him a couple years, see if you can figure some stuff out, and that's it. And we live in the age now where you overdraft the quarterback because, in this case, Fernando Mendoza is the flavor of the week.
All right.
Your thoughts?
I'll be a little careful because for years now I've done weekend radio at Fox National, Fox Sports Radio, I should say. And so I know I don't really know Ben Maller, but I know the show. And I would say generally Ben Maller's a guy that's a very late night radio. Kevin, I would just say try not to sample much of it because again, he's done it for a while and he's fine. Okay, Ben is. But this is, again, like kind of the other day when we heard Rob Parker say some things about Indiana. This is just kind of, first of all, Ben Maller's eye test, I'd give that as about much credibility. I've got some of the worst eyes you could ever find. I would give that as much credibility as me watching a game without my glasses and basically not being able to tell like who's who. That's about what I would give that. Okay. Now, again, is he good at doing talk radio? You bet. He's been doing a good while, all of that. And part of talk radio, unfortunately, is kind of the downside to it is this kind of, ridiculous stuff. Because to evaluate Fernando Mendoza on like a game, by the way, against one of the best defenses in college football when they were just crushing him throughout the game. To properly evaluate him, you have to look at the comebacks. You have to look about like what he did late, that iconic moment coming back to beat Penn State. You got to look at the huge plays he made, the throw he had against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Who was that? Was that Cooper or Surratt over there?
Big play Becker.
That was Becker. The throw against Penn State was Cooper, right?
Yep.
Yeah, the unbelievable play. And Cooper, by the way, I think I would draft him just based on what that one play. But Fernando is more about like, you could totally look at his game and go, are we sure? Like, is he a number 1 pick? That's all fair game. But to think that you saw something in a game, by the way, where he put his whole career on the line on that one run, if you watched that game and you came away thinking this guy's no more than a 4th-round pick in the NFL, you've done your credibility some harm. All right? Now, again, the Skip Baylesses and those kinds of folks don't care about their credibility. They care about making people feel a certain way. And if they've gotten under your skin, they've done their job. Another one I saw today, Kev, is like Cam Newton came out and said some dumb stuff. And it was like, do you even remember what it was about, Kevin? Like
it depends on which one. He said so many different things. Coming from the SEC about.
Today he said, this fits Campus Confidential. Today he came out there with this opinion that Notre Dame is irrelevant to college football. Now, again, I there are a lot of things that bug me about Notre Dame. I don't think the ACC, I don't understand why everybody has to bend over backwards to provide them with a schedule and cater to them. It's like, hey, if you want a good schedule and you want some semblance, join a conference. I mean, I think there's plenty of things to criticize Notre Dame about. But to come out and suggest that they are irrelevant in college football is an embarrassing take. They played in the national title game under Marcus Freeman, last year's national title game. The guy is a good coach. And even Brian Kelly before him.
They probably should have ended up in the playoff this year.
Yes. Although, who would they have replaced? They would have replaced maybe the team that ended up playing Indiana in a great national title game.
Right.
Like Miami did itself proud throughout. I mean, Miami really, in that program, has nothing to be ashamed about. I think the only thing that stinks, and Carson Beck will go on and have hopefully a nice professional career, but I think all of America, now you don't care, Kev, every Indiana fan loved that he threw that pick, all right? But to the rest of America who just wanted great drama, it was just like, you got 50 seconds left, you're down by 6. What are you throwing that ball into double coverage for? It's like we kind of all wanted to see. Not that I was rooting against Indiana.
You know what, though?
It was just kind of sad.
It references something that he said during last season, where he doesn't even like football, doesn't watch tape, is what he said from a press conference, if I remember correctly, last year. Which is, to me, was like a huge red flag as to like next level. I was like, if I'm an NFL scout and I hear that, I cross him off the list right there.
Yeah.
But I think back to Bill Maller, if you're calling if you're calling Fernando Mendoza a 4th round pick, then Charlie Becker has to be on that top 10 college football player list that we talked about yesterday, because the catches that Becker has made are absolutely incredible, especially if he's catching it from a 4th round pick.
Yeah, you have really jumped on this Becker thing. I like him. The thing working against Becker is that, unlike Jeremiah Smith and just some of these monsters of college football, that there's not quite the body of work at the high level, because he really started doing it halfway through this season.
A little bit later than that.
So that's tough. That's a tough evaluation for NFL people. That said,
he's a sophomore.
If Chambliss couldn't go back to Ole Miss, they would be having to evaluate one season, and that's always a scary thing. That's how you end up making mistakes, even on some of those North Dakota State quarterbacks. Not really Wentz, because honestly, Wentz had some moments early in his career where people thought he was going to be fine. And the Super Bowl year, he was headed toward possibly being an MVP when he got hurt, and Nick Foles led him the rest of the way. The next guy is Trey Lance. That was a guy that, that's what's scary about evaluating quarterbacks. He was intriguing, but he had only done it for like one season at a low level. That's a tough. I think given the NIL landscape, Trey Lance would have never. I forget how many years he started at North Dakota State, but I don't think it was that much.
I think it was Nevada where he was at.
Huh?
I think it was Nevada that Trey Lance was at.
Yeah, you better double check that one. I don't think.
Nope, you were right. Not bad.
All right. That's okay.
All
What else do you have for us in Campus Confidential?
Another Indiana one you sent me. There was this moment on the Paul Feinbaum show a couple days ago.
Debate on whether Indiana had the best season in college football history, but there can be no debate. It is the greatest story in the history of the game. And what made it even more amazing is how people misunderstood what Curt Cignetti was doing in Bloomington. But let me assure you, nobody was more incorrect in understanding that process than me. Almost everything I said throughout the season about him and about Indiana was wrong, and it was an epic failure on my part. There was no question Indiana was the best team, and yes, the Big Ten is the best conference in the country. We congratulate Coach Cignetti, Indiana, and the Big Ten for an extraordinary run.
Your thoughts on that?
It's hard to when somebody is a certain way and we know him as the mouthpiece and the biggest advocate really at ESPN or almost anywhere of the SEC. And so on one hand, maybe there are people that see that and go, well, that's nice of Paul. I almost think, though, most of those people probably think that's a little fake, coming from someone who spent that much time probably putting them down and extolling the SEC and now having to come out with his tail between his legs. And so on one hand, I think you almost have to give him some credit for saying I was wrong. But it's funny because I think the thing you hate and the thing you love, honestly, because if people weren't watching him, ESPN wouldn't pay him $10 million a year or whatever he makes. But it's people like Stephen A. Smith, like people that hate him but still watch him, don't want to hear him do what Paul Feinbaum just did, and to come out and go, I was complete. Would you really, as a Cowboys fan, want him to come out and make some huge apology because you would know it was fake? Feinbaum, it's a little harder to tell. With Stephen A., and I've known him for years, Stephen A. has created and Bayless has done the same thing. And to a certain extent, Shannon Sharp, same. They have created characters that they play. And they do it very well. And it's kind of funny. I think, and you may hate it, but a lot of you still watch it and react to it. It's hard to tell with Feinbaum because in some ways he plays a character, but he also has more substance than some of these other people in the sense that for years he was an old SEC writer, columnist, beat writer back in the day, then a radio host. There's a little more substance to what he has to say than some of these others. Now, you could say, listen, Skip Bayless. Now, here's what people don't want to know about him. I think there was a time, and it's a long, long time ago. We're talking about 30 to 35 years ago, that Skip Bayless was borderline brilliant columnist. But then he embraced this idea of being hated, and he sort of had already become, by the time he left Dallas or his time ended in Dallas, he just kind of embraced being hated and all that kind of stuff. And I never could. There was another columnist from the LA Times, And people, when I was at the morning news and I started to write more and more opinion, people sometimes would compare me to TJ Simers. And I think some people would take it as a compliment. I didn't really take it as a compliment because TJ Simers had become very bitter, mean-spirited, very opinionated, and very. You wanted to read what he had to say, but he also came across as kind of bitter, and I never wanted to become that person. I liked trying to entertain people, make them laugh, and I didn't mind having hardcore opinions. I hated, and I'm not saying I didn't do it occasionally, I hated being mean-spirited, and occasionally I came across that way. And when I did, I liked being told that because I didn't really want to be that guy. So anyway, that goes back to my writing days.
Yeah, I would say on the one hand, the Feinbaum made me very happy because we've been saying all season long and getting hate from it from the SEC crowd that the Big Ten is the best team, is the best conference, not in the past, not in the history, but right now. And so it's great to hear that. But as you mentioned, it does feel like one of the those NFL player just got in trouble and now has to read a statement, even though we can tell they don't really mean it and they're just doing it just because they have to.
You know, that's the mindset. It's funny. I think when you're an Indiana or even like a Texas Tech fan and you've kind of been almost irrelevant, I'm talking about the football program at Indiana specifically, for that long, and then suddenly you become great. It's got to be a weird flip for you, Kevin, to then see all these people like me who never gave a rat's behind about Indiana football praise you guys and see you had such the kind of little guy inferiority complex for all those years that you can't help but kind of seek out like who's still saying negative. Like it's to the point where it's kind of shocking even that people even care to come up with and hate on Indiana. But get used to it, Kevin, because when you become the big bully and the big 800-pound gorilla, so to speak, there will be more and more people who want to take you down. And your job is you either care about that or you don't care about that, or you find it entertaining. And that you may be in the third camp. All right, Kev, what else? Yeah.
We know the team better than anyone else because we cover the team. And like I mentioned, Ohio State, Alabama game, people finally got to see what we saw the whole season. All right. Do you want to talk about the portal classes? I do have one more basketball question, but you want to talk about the portal classes first?
Sure.
All right. So what are the top 10 portal classes as ranked by ESPN? Don't have a graphic. Just walk us through it.
I mean, if you don't have a graphic, I'm not going to do it. No. Let me just tell you this. The Texas A&M Fighting Ags, still a team that does well when it comes to high school recruiting. I mean, as you would expect, right? But they're handling things. I mean, think about it. They got Craver and Concepcion in the portal, monster receivers. Then and then they did a deal to bring Craver back. In the portal, they went and got 6'4" Alabama transfer Isaiah Horton, who's known as a jump ball specialist. So let me just tell you, Ags come in at number 10 on transfer portal. As I said earlier, sadly, I think Baylor's right around the top 25. I think it stinks that they cared to put Georgia and Alabama at 22 and 23 because obviously those teams already have such unbelievable talent that they don't have to do a whole bunch in the portal. And so I think Baylor should have been allowed to come into the portal top 25, but they didn't. The most interesting teams that landed in the top 25 are as follows. This according to ESPN. The Cal Berkeley Golden Bears of the ACC, number 18, Kev. the Colorado Buffaloes from the Big 12. They do not recruit well out of high school at all. They do fairly well in the portal. Number 17 in the portal, the Colorado Buffaloes. Baylor will open with them in Waco on September 17th, I believe. All right, as I start to commit some of these things to memory. Virginia Tech, with James Franklin taking over there. Number 14, according to ESPN, in the portal. James Franklin doing great work in the portal. This is probably the most interesting to me of the top 25. And Baylor fans, I hate to do this to you, but I'll just tell you, this probably would have been your head coach had Mac Rhodes not got himself in some trouble. And by trouble, I meant, obviously off the field. Had an on the field weird thing happen with a tight end, but then had some other off the field transgression that further did damage to his credibility in his career. And so he was out at Baylor. Had he stayed, he probably would have made a change. And I believe he would have tried to hire the head. Maybe not, but I think he probably would have tried to hire the head coach, University of North Texas, Eric Morris, who is now the head coach at Oklahoma State. Would I have liked Baylor's chances versus Oklahoma State's chances to land Eric Morris? Yes, I would have. But they got Eric Morris, and they got quarterback Drew Mestemaker, and they got the running back Caleb Hawkins, and the great UNT wide receiver Wyatt Young. And that is why they show up as the number 13 portal team. Do I think Oklahoma State is about to pull in Indiana? I do not. I do think they could finish with 7 or 8 wins next season, which from where they were would be enormous. I mean, they were an embarrassment last year. And so that would be a huge come up. The Arizona State Sun Devils, number 12 best portal class. All right, they got the running back. They lost their quarterback, running back, and receiver, and they still came around and did pretty well. In fact, the receiver, Omarion Miller from Colorado, really good, and Reed Harris from Boston College, really, really good. And they got the transfer quarterback, let's remember, Cutter Boley from Kentucky. Okay, will be a starting quarterback at Arizona State. Auburn 11. I said A&M at 10. Another interesting one in the portal. Kentucky Wildcats show up at number 8 in the portal. And then Matt Campbell brought all his players, and Penn State ends up number 6. University of Texas, number 4. Indiana Hoosiers, 3. Texas Tech, 2. I think those are very close. I think that comes down to maybe people thinking Sorsby is a better quarterback than Hoover. We'll see how that bears out. And then number 1 in the portal, according to ESPN, that would be the LSU Tigers. All right, and Lane Kiffin coming in there with all that money, doing a good job, and that will be very, very interesting to see how all this plays out. They landed Sam Levitt from Arizona State, and they got new receivers, Eugene Wilson III from Florida, Jace Brown out of Kansas State. He's fast. When he stays healthy, he is a game breaker. Trey Brown III from Old Dominion, and Winston Watkins. Wow, that is a bevy of fine wide receivers that they brought in there. And then they got Boise State defensive back Ty Benefield, really good player. All right, and the top-ranked edge player Prince. Oh, he's good. How we say that? Prince Will. You know that guy? Uman Milan, big time edge rusher coming in there. That's a good one. Okay, give me the last one, then we'll get to the interview.
All right, last one. Illinois, number 11 Illinois plays at number 4 Purdue for now until they're readjusted because Purdue already lost. And number 6 Houston goes to number 12 Texas Tech. Which one of those top teams are more primed for an upset in those games, do you think? Houston or Purdue? Houston on the road, Purdue at home. And Purdue just coming off of already a loss.
Houston for sure, because that's a tough environment, and I will say this is a tough one. I will still stick with Houston, but I believe Kelvin Sampson and Houston to be the best road team in the country. If you're saying who are the best road teams, put them above Michigan, put them above Arizona, put them above all those top 5 teams that and put I think and by the way, it doesn't not just this season. Go back over the last few seasons. What Houston does on the road in the Big 12 is one of the craziest stories in all of college athletics. They are that great on the road. They do not wilt. And that doesn't mean they won't lose. Tech's going to be a great atmosphere. Red Raiders are out there in Lubbock. What are you going to do? You just walk over to the deal. Weather's not going to bother the freaking Texas Tech Red Raiders, okay? They could have the electricity and everything freeze up on them, and they'd find a way to play that game and to have a great situation there. Because they got backup generators, and they're not worried about leaving on, let's leak our faucets, let's put a towel over our front hedges. They don't care.
Just bring the pickup trucks into the stadium, turn the lights on, let's go.
You know, they have that great saying, toughest team wins. Problem is, Houston Cougars are the toughest team in the country. All right. Jarrett Stidham, and we'll introduce this to you, but very excited to do this. But had an opportunity here on Rogue Media Network to have a one-on-one. Scotty Swingler helped out big time in this regard. A guy who has kept up with Jarrett over the years. Jarrett Stidham, who will start in the AFC title game, joins the Matt Mosley Show next.
Ready for a better kind of primary care?
At Patient First Direct Primary Care, you get unlimited office visits with same-day or next-day availability.
And instead of rushed appointments, we take the time to actually listen.
There are no insurance hassles, just clear, simple care.
You can reach us by phone or text because access shouldn't be complicated. Our practice has expanded to include Medicare-age patients as part of our direct primary care model.
It's a fresh alternative to the traditional insurance or government-driven systems, care that finally puts you first.
For more information, go to patientfirstdirect.com.
It's time to start something new at Allen Samuels. Drive in with huge savings on all of our Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. From a trail-conquering Jeep Grand Cherokee, towing in style with a Ram Heavy Duty, or cruising the city in a sporty and luxurious Ram 1500, we've got the perfect ride for you. Stop by Allen Samuels in Waco, where we make car buying easy.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Everybody at Ecolife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops. Made clean, made to clean.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NordVPN.com.
All right, we're watching the weather. Baylor women's game had been moved, has already been moved to Tuesday. I just saw an announcement from the Mavericks in case people were wanting to go see Luka's return. Still scheduled to be at 7:30. Just everybody's being encouraged to start way early to get down there. As long as the trains are running around here, the DART trains, that would be the best way to get down there. That's what I would do in icy weather when I used to have to get downtown and do radio because, of course, nobody could do without sports radio for a day during icy weather. I would take DART. I would take the train downtown. If you're listening and you're in the Metroplex, I would look at that. If you're in Waco, I'd probably just stay. I'd stay in Central Texas. And hello to Houston, Austin. We got people listening to us in Manhattan, Kansas. We got folks Nashville, Tennessee, and we got a lot of folks checking us out on a daily basis. I want to thank CNB, Central National Bank. You guys are incredible. Our presenting sponsor, Cherry Johnson, Siegmund James Law Firm. Today being Friday, I do need to, Kev, I want to do a Schmaltz's trivia contest later in the program, but love Schmaltz and Britt Tully, the job he does over there at Schmaltz, and he's taken over the legacy from Nelson Rue and great people. And one of the greatest sandwiches you could get your hands on. In fact, as you get ready for Snowmageddon, get over there. Open downtown location, I believe, is open until 3. And then that Valley Mills is open, I think, even until the evening. So get over there and get your sandwich on. And I'll think of a good trivia question for later in the program. Thank you, Alan Samuels. My gosh, those end of the year deals were incredible. Thank you, Ted Teague. Just unbelievable what they were doing over there. The trucks, people were saving as much as $10,000 on some of those new trucks. And so just keep them in mind. If you can go by Alan Samuels, and they got huge things moving forward. So we're going to be telling you more. And that Patient Direct, you were just learning more about them. What a neat alternative that is. Thank you, Ascension Providence, for being that incredible hospital system. Really all around, but we love all our doctors right here in Central Texas and all the amazing doctors. In fact, we've interviewed about 7 of them recently, and whether it be sports medicine, whether it be pediatrics, really just a talented, incredible staff there. So thank you. We're so grateful for all our partners here on the Mosley Show. Kevin, tell you what we'll do, and then we'll give our predictions a little bit later in the program. Kevin and I'll give our predictions for the AFC NFC title game. Of course, we'll give you outright thoughts in against the line as well. But this is a cool opportunity we didn't want to pass up. Earlier this season, before Baylor was to play Auburn, there was a quarterback that had played for Baylor and Auburn. In fact, when he was at Auburn in 2017 or 18, he took down 2 of number 1 teams that year, both Georgia and Alabama. He was at Auburn. He started his career at Baylor. Jarrett Stidham was one of the great recruits in Baylor history under Art Briles. The Briles family and the Stidham family went way back. And then Jarrett Stidham will be starting the AFC title game for the Denver Broncos. And so we thought what we would do is let you listen, because we talked to him about Sean Payton, about playing for Bill Belichick for the Patriots, and then about playing at Auburn and about being with Art Briles at Baylor. Here is our interview from just a couple of months ago. He was having a great preseason at the time with Jarrett Stidham, the man who will start in the AFC title game on Sunday.
We could probably stand to put a few more books up there.
It's when you say that they're actually all over to my right. I do.
Okay.
Agree. But I got the football stuff here, the playbooks and stuff. So trying to somewhat organized.
Man, congratulations on all your success. You just signed a new contract. You the numbers in the preseason have been off the charts. In fact, a lot of preseason backup quarterbacks, you kind of have to keep playing, and you're like, really? Now that you solidified your spot and you did so well, they're like, okay, Jarrett, you can rest a little bit because you all your success. Not that Sean Payton ever lets anybody relax, but to throw for over 400 yards or whatever it is and 4 touchdowns in the preseason. Is this the best? Obviously, you want to be in the games, the real games and all of that. But in terms of a preseason that you've been a part of, is this the best you've ever felt?
It is. I would definitely say this is the best that I have felt probably in my career. Honestly, probably going back to probably my first year at Auburn back at 17. So, one of those things where I think it's a lot to do with, off-season training and that sort of thing. Just trying to get ready for the season. And then once you go into OTAs, training camp, all that sort of stuff, just try to hit your stride at the right moment. And, luckily been able to go out there and play some football and, score some points. So it's been a lot of fun.
All right. What is, I know Sean Payton, and I've known him for a long time, and I'd be careful bringing my name up, the Mosley name. I'm not sure exactly what reaction you would get, but being around him, he is a quarterback guru. He had the incredible time with Breeze. He didn't always get credited for this. He's actually had a huge role in why Romo came to the Cowboys. And of course, they were both at Eastern Illinois. On one hand, I'm sure there's a lot of quarterback things you can learn from him, but he's also kind of a funny, interesting guy. And whether he's hanging out with Kenny Chesney or all of that, what's that been like being around Sean Payton, and what's the biggest thing that he's helped you with, like as you continue to kind of add to your arsenal and continue to improve as a quarterback?
Yeah, obviously, I think like you touched on with Drew Brees all those years in New Orleans, and like you said with Romo back in Dallas, there's been a lot to just kind of pick up from his standpoint from over the years. We could go kind of X's and O's all we want, but I think honestly one of the big things, one of the cooler things about him is just his ability to establish a culture. And obviously, he did it, in New Orleans right after Hurricane Katrina, and whenever that organization, that city needed that, and then coming here to Denver, he's kind of done the same thing. We went 10 years without making the playoffs, made the playoffs last year, and he sets up a really great culture with guys that want to work hard, that want to be there, and that don't take shortcuts. And honestly, I've been very fortunate, obviously, to play for Bill Belichick, there in New England, and now Sean, here in Denver. And I'm very blessed. I'm very fortunate. I've been around, 2 Hall of Fame head coaches, and then played, behind some incredible quarterbacks that obviously will be in the Hall of Fame. So like I said, there's a lot X's and O's that I could go into, but I think establishing a culture, coming into a new place is one of the bigger things, and one of the things that I've really enjoyed, getting to be a part of that here in Denver with Sean.
All right. Knowing Bill Belichick and being around him now that he's coming into the college game, Jarrett, that has to be kind of surreal for you to watch. And you've had you him better than almost all of us and have been around him. Is football like And also, obviously, some of the off the field stuff. I'm sure, like a lot of us, you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe these have become such huge stories. But just from a football standpoint, how do you think that's going to go at UNC? And do you find yourself, you got to focus on Broncos right now, but will you be way more dialed into UNC than you would have ever been previously?
Absolutely. I will be dialed into to Tar Heel football for sure. Obviously played for Bill, and then his son, Steve, who's the defense coordinator there. Steve's a very, very close friend of mine. Him and his wife and their kids, we've gotten to know super well over the last, 6-7 years. Their chief of staff, a guy named Chris Mattis, also another one of my closest friends in the world. So I've got some skin in the game with UNC, but I'm very excited to see how that goes. As far as, Bill and, how it'll go, obviously I don't know. I'm just as anxious, as everybody else to see how it ends up unfolding. But I will say one thing. If you play football, at North Carolina, you're going to be very prepared. You're going to know the opponent in and out. And obviously there's, a little bit different, time constraints, so to speak, with class and stuff like that in college versus the pros. But the thing I always appreciated about Bill was you never went into a week not knowing who your opponent is, what they were good at, what they were bad at, how were you going to attack that team. It's one of again, I could go on and on about the stuff I learned from Bill, situational football, just being very well prepared every single week. I'm excited to see it.
Okay, so we can't, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it into Waco, your old stomping grounds. I'm not sure when the last time you swung through town, but people would obviously love to see you. Do you get a kick out of the fact that some people are referring to this as the Stidham Bowl? You have we're hearing some of that. We obviously wanted to see more of you than we got to. In fact, when I see some of your highlights with Denver and others in New England before that, I always am like, dang it. Like I wanted to see how that was going to play out. And obviously you went on and had a really good career with Auburn, and we know which way you'll be leaning in this thing. Although you're from Texas, you may still have a little love for the people in Waco. What's it going to be like watching that on Friday night, knowing that you are involved with both programs and have a lot of friends from both sides? Yeah,
it's obviously it's going to be exciting. Little house divided here because my wife obviously played soccer at Baylor. That's how we met. And obviously I ended up going to Auburn. So a little bit of house divided. I'm going to try to get the kids on my side on Friday night to the game. That way they know, put my daughter in her Auburn dress. But no, it's super exciting. Obviously, have roots in both places and stuff like that. So I'm very anxious to see how it goes. And obviously I know Sawyer really well there at Baylor, and he obviously had a great year last year. So I'm really looking forward to see how he plays this year. And then on the Auburn side of things, Jackson Arnold coming in, seeing how he plays, how he adapts to, playing at Auburn. It's just different than OU. So, and we have a lot of playmakers, on the offensive side of the ball. So I'm excited with Hugh, can dial up on Friday night. And, I'm hoping for a great game. First week, you always want it to be a good one. So, hopefully we get that. Hugh needs to stop turning in his golf scores. I mean, it's one of the strangest things, Jarrett. I'm like, it's on one hand, it's kind of honorable that he wants to have an accurate handicap because you don't like people showing up at scrambles and cheating. Right. But I was just like, why are you opening yourself up to this? Because it's not like he doesn't work hard. And we all need a release. I'm sure you played around at tour golf or fish or whatever. But if you're a head coach in the SEC and it starts going around that you're playing a lot of golf, it's going to come back on you. And Lane Kiffin and others are going to get a hold of that, right? So I think the lesson here is not to stop playing golf. It's like you don't have to turn every round in. Don't you think? I do appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, when it gets close to the season, hopefully we're winning a lot of games. I've been around guys that, do you play golf through the season? Personally, I do not. I put the sticks up. Like when I go to training camp, my stuff's still back home there in Texas in Fort Worth. So I don't want to have the temptation of going out and playing during the season once it starts. So but shoot, I mean, it's like I said, it's on release, trying to have a game. Yeah, we'll see how it works.
All right. So wait, Auburn has a little bit been out in the wilderness even since you left. And I guess Bo just kind of follows you around, obviously. But like when you look at it and you talk to your buddies who love the program and everything, like this seems to be a huge, I mean, even just this game for Hugh Freeze and to set the tone, this is monstrous. Like, what do you think is the biggest reason it's been a struggle? And maybe it's recruiting. I don't know. I would not have thought Auburn would have struggled with NIL because obviously their alums love their Tigers, love War Eagle as much as the Bama people love their team. What do you think's been the biggest issue? And have you heard or seen signs that maybe Auburn's doing some things to maybe get back to what they're known for? And by the way, did you know y'all have won some more national titles now? We've had, they made that announcement in the past week.
I didn't see that. What was that? Like, when was that? Way back in the day, right? It just somehow came back up. I don't know.
Well, I think our old friend Tuberville had something to do with it. And one of those, the Auburn could not play in postseason. And I think they went undefeated. So I think they're claiming one on that one. And then they've added a few through the years. And today, by the way, I'm claiming a 1924 Baylor national title. They only went 7-2-1 that year, but I think it was a good year and they won the conference title. Yeah.
I like it. No, I think, back whenever I was in school, we had some success there. And then, Bo came in right after me. And I want to say his freshman year, they played well. And then, it's kind of teetered off since. And look, I don't know if you can point to one thing or one person. I think, football's too hard just to point at, one certain person or one certain thing. But I think it's just a combination of things. Obviously, I would say, maybe selfishly, I would say that Auburn is, a top 15 program in the country, holistically. And I would say whenever you can get the right people in there, whether it's, and obviously it starts with the head coach, and then trickles down to the players and starts with the quarterback. If you can have a good head coach and a good quarterback, just like a lot of these schools, if you want to talk about University of Texas or Ohio State or Oregon or Penn State, like you can go on, Alabama, Georgia, like if you can have the right guy leading the team, from the head coach's spot, and then the right guy leading the team from the quarterback spot, you'll have some success. And so I think it's just trying to find, the combination. Obviously we've been through some head coaches, since I was there, and just trying to find a good continuity between those two things. I think, especially at the college level, I mean, those two are the most important people, in an organization, so to speak. And then with NIL, like you said, I mean, I feel like Auburn doesn't have an issue with the NIL side of things. So like I said, I think that's where it really boils down to. It's just trying to find the right match made in heaven between those two. And, hopefully we have that this year.
All right. I hope Auburn can handle the blackout, the chrome helmets bringing out pretty much everything, whole new uniform. And so, as you know, some of that stuff from that era, I think Baylor was a little reluctant to go back to. And then at some point it's occurred to them, well, wait, the students, everybody was having a lot of fun back then, right? We were winning a lot of games. So maybe some of that stuff we could try again. Do you remember putting on you wore the chrome helmets, didn't you, at some point? Those shiny ones with the all black, the anthracite.
I'm trying to think. I know my freshman year we had a blackout against OU, but we went all black. We went black helmets, black uniform, the whole thing. The chrome one, I know I wore it. I don't know exactly when that was, but yeah, I mean, obviously that was a great time in Baylor football, and obviously the whole university was behind it, and I know the students loved, some of those games, some of the blackout games and those sort of things. strike the stadium, all that kind of stuff. So, I have very fond memories of some of those.
Yeah. By the way, you were such a huge recruit at Baylor, and you were in that first wave of when it wasn't like, oh, they're just beating people up with their scheme. Now they're starting to get players. And some of my Tech buddies are still mad at you, because you were going to Tech at one point. And they're like, oh my gosh, how did y'all end up with Jarrett or whatever? Do you ever find yourself daydreaming, and maybe you're more well adjusted than most Baylor fans, but like thinking what that team that y'all are in the midst of putting together, and there was one big time recruiting class on the way. Where do you think that was headed? Because y'all were already competing for a playoff, and they should have had a playoff in 2014 spot. And then as you came in there, where do you think that program was headed at the time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say, 8-9 years ago, I thought a lot more about this. As time has gone on. But I tell people, and this is just my own opinion, so who knows if it would have happened or what would have happened. But, at that point, kind of where we were, I believe it was 13, 14, they went back to back. And then 15, my freshman year, we started off 6-7-0. Seth Russell got hurt. I came in, played well. I got hurt. Then, we finished the season maybe 10-4, something along those lines. And I think personally, what OU became with Lincoln, and Baker was obviously there, and then Kyler Murray, and then Jalen Hurts. Like, I think that was kind of that's what I saw us as about to become, was kind of that same trajectory that OU was on. And obviously they kind of ran with the Big 12 there for many years. And, I really do believe, if everything would have stayed the same, then, we had great recruiting classes coming in, in 16 and 17. I thought we were about to hit our stride really in 16, and then just keep pushing along. And, back then, I mean, we were one of the hot spots, to come, and especially in the state of Texas, you felt like, you're competing with UT, A&M to get the best recruits, in the best football state in the country. And, that's how I feel. Again, everything happens for a reason, and, it all ended up working out. But, I was super excited at the time to be a part of it.
Well, and by the way, Scotty, did you have something for Jarrett? Because I would hate to short you if you wanted to run it. I've loved talking to Jarrett. I know we need to let him get back to his thing, but Scotty, jump in here if you had anything for Jarrett. I was kind of curious about what Jarrett's telling his buddies that are coming in for this game, like what he's told them to do, if he's given them any advice. Or
that's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah. But Scotty, have at it, man, because I was so excited that you were able to track down Jarrett, and I was hoping we could get him to Waco for the Stidham Bowl, and we could have even maybe recognized him before the game. And
I don't know about that. I will say we were going to come down. We were going to come down this week because this is our last off weekend before the season starts.
Yeah.
Next week, but my wife is 31, 32 weeks pregnant. So it's just kind of a lot, with her and then the kids and stuff. It was just kind of a lot to do, on short notice. But we would have been down there probably had she not, if she wasn't pregnant and everything. But like I said, house divided this weekend. So it'll be fun.
Jarrett, talk to me more about your relationship with Sawyer. I know that's that probably adds even more complication to the rooting interest going on. I know you're going to be rooting for the Tigers, but how often do you guys talk? How often do you get to talk ball with him? What is that relationship like?
Yeah, I would say, oh man, I feel old now. 10 plus years ago, maybe something like that. Like him and I started talking a little bit, and he went out to California once. Whenever I was out there training with Jordan Palmer. So I've kind of gotten to know Sawyer throughout the years and kind of see this football journey. And, randomly he'll hit me up, kind of bouncing things off of me, bouncing ideas, that sort of thing. And, he was talking to me during, his whole transfer period and everything, just kind of how I dealt with it and that sort of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun watching him. Like I said, he had an amazing year last year. Some really, really good games. Obviously, super athletic. He kind of throw it around all over the yard and obviously pick off whenever he wants. So hopefully he doesn't torch us too bad. No, I think we got a good defense this year too. So like I said, I think it'll be a little bit punch for punch, but it'll be fun to watch.
It will be. It'll be on Fox, and RG3's on the game, and so that'll be cool. Well, Jarrett, it's fun having you on our new show, and love to have you back sometime. And I hope you have a great year in Denver. And I hope a guy that I do some work with on Colin Cowherd, I hope he doesn't see this, your cap turned around backwards. He seems to obsess about that.
Yeah, he doesn't like I've seen that.
So I'll keep this from him and everything. But that is, it's from Stephenville, Texas, man. As we get ready for high school football Thursday, some games start up, and then Friday. What a fun time of year. Do you ever still find yourself, even that, so far removed from it, at least kind of checking the scores and seeing how everybody's doing back home?
Absolutely. Obviously checking on Stephenville every week. I'm very, very proud to be from Stephenville. We just got a new stadium, which is very, very exciting for us, the Harper House Stadium, Mike Copeland Field. So that would be really exciting for us. And now that, which I shouldn't say this too loud, but now that my wife and I, we're actually Bearcats who live in Aledo now, technically. Which, if you would have told me 15 years ago, hey, you're going to be a Bearcat living in Aledo, I would have said you're crazy. So I feel like I got to check in on Aledo scores too, because I know some people in the area now. But yeah, there's nothing better than Texas high school football and just the fall in general, getting football going. So it's very exciting.
All right. Well, make sure that you meet Jesse Haney in Aledo if you haven't already. Okay, so of course Mac Jones, another NFL quarterback, has been known to show up over there. So yeah, it's surreal having a friend who can build like a indoor barn, quarterback barn, and then I try to explain it to people. They're like, "Oh, is it a little barn or whatever?" I'm like, "Well, no, you can open the hydraulic system and it goes about 70 or 80 yards, so
it's a compound for just sports, which is pretty cool. But that only happens in Texas too, which is cool.
Yeah, it happens if you're extremely successful in the oil and gas world and that kind of thing. But that'll be fun. Well, I'll hopefully, now that I know you're in Aledo, I'll see you out there sometime. Jesse's a great friend, and his son Scotty Hoss Haney is looking to be the starting quarterback for Oklahoma State this year. So he's come out of the vaunted Aledo program, which I don't know. And Stephenville obviously has had incredible success. Jarrett, I think Aledo's sitting on 11 to 13 state titles now.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I think we're at 6. So we'll get there one day.
We'll get there. Jarrett, thank you, and thanks for spending the time, and good luck in Denver, and hope it goes extremely well this year, and just continued success to you. As man, you're just doing a great job, and we appreciate you having it. And both fan bases will be, think very highly of you. Just know that.
I appreciate that. Thank you guys for having me on again. And like I said, Friday night it'll be a lot of fun. Hoping for a good game. We'll see how it turns out. So, but I appreciate you guys having me on.
You bet. There he goes, Jarrett Stidham on the Matt Mosley Show.
When Central National Bank decided to partner with Baylor women's basketball, we were hoping Coach Collin would bring that championship mindset to do whatever she has to do to take our workplace culture to the next level.
Well, these donuts are pretty good.
Guys, how we doing?
We're good, Coach.
Craig! What are you doing?
What do you mean?
You have to dunk it.
So far, I think our employees are really enjoying it.
Not everything's a basketball thing.
Did you say something, Craig?
No, ma'am.
That's what I thought.
Dude, I think she likes you.
Central National Bank, proud partner of Baylor Athletics and Baylor Women's Basketball.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Dive into adventure with scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone, like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Golf Partner, the world's largest golf store network, offers more purchasing opportunities than anywhere else. With a dominant market share and a wider selection of quality secondhand golf clubs than our competitors, we make it easy for you to enjoy the game with affordable, top-quality equipment. Golf Partner, overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
It is the Mosley Show, and it is, well, we've got the Arctic Blast on the way. We got sports, everything. We got games being moved. Right now, Baylor and TCU still going to play at 5 o'clock. Baylor women's game has been moved from Sunday to Tuesday against the University of Houston. And so it'll be, again, moved from Sunday until Tuesday. Thought is hopefully the ice and everything will not have not really totally taken hold by Saturday afternoon. By Sunday, the belief is that it will have, and then so we'll have to kind of look at our travel. I think it's going to stay cold enough through Monday where it's going to be an issue, and then by Tuesday we'll be coming out of some of this. In fact, Kev, let's look at the 10-day. Let's look at my weather bug is what I kind of like to use. Now, again, this is Mosley weather reporting, happening from Dallas, Texas. Looking out my studio window. Got a little precip, but right now I don't see the, weather hadn't dipped yet. I'm looking at a frozen mix moving in, high of 28, low of 15 tomorrow, at least in Dallas, and then Sunday, high of 18, low of 7. 30% chance of frozen mix. That's not fun. And then Monday, we start to kind of come out of it because it's going to be sunny. Again, though, the temperatures are not going to get high enough for everything to melt, it doesn't look like. Although the sun does seem to melt some things. By Tuesday, high of 39, low of 22. And then by Wednesday, Thursday, And then, by the way, it's going to be kind of messy again the following weekend. What is going on with all this? This is not going to be a fun week. Although it should be sunny enough beginning, especially Tuesday, to kind of dry up some of this stuff. And then we'll get prepared for the next weekend, which does not look as bad because it won't be quite as cold, but this will be a rough weekend. This is going to be kind of batten down the hatches, get out, get all you need. Kevin's got more kids at home than I do, so he's going to really have to But again, when you have as many kids as Kevin and his wife do, you have plenty of experience loading up on items. So I don't exactly think they may have to make an extra grocery run, but it shouldn't be like, I would think you're better prepared than most for this, Kevin, because of how many people you guys take care of, right?
Well, everything we spent the past few days kind of cooking a whole bunch of stuff. So everything in the fridge, I said, if we lose power, we may not be able to warm it up, but at least it's edible. And so
edible food. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody
plenty
can
of
get
stuff in the pantry. I did also tell them, if everything gets canceled and now it feels like Christmas weather, we're going to like re-Christmas. No gifts. It's going to be a giftless Christmas. So we're going to watch Christmas movies. As if we have power, we're going to play games. We're going to, do all the Christmas activities.
Nice.
Just, And as of last night, everything got canceled. So the weekend is chalk free for us.
All right. Now but you probably don't want to be playing games during Sunday. Once 2:00 hits, Kev, you'll be tuned in like the rest of the country to that's why we have to have the power. Now, what I will be able to do, I'm charging up all my backup chargers. You know what I mean? So then I can, those remote chargers, then I can use for my phone. So even if all else fails, should be able to watch the game on the phones, even if the power fails on TVs and everything. Let's hope the grid holds up.
Right.
Kev, let's talk first about we'll give our picks. Let's do the first game that day. That's that game in Denver with the Patriots going into Denver. It's 2:00 kickoff. Weather that day, Kev's is still looking like, at one point it was a low of 4 degrees, a high of in the 20s. Is that the latest you've seen in Denver? Have you taken a peek?
I'm going to take a peek right now. But honestly, does it matter with these teams?
Yeah, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. But I do kind of like, for my own viewing entertainment, I like to know what I'm watching. I like to know kind of the weather environment they're in, because that kind of informs me as the viewer of what all they're facing and what they're going through. And
low of 4, high of 23.
Okay, so things haven't really changed. Okay, because I think you said that the other day. Low of 4, high of 23. I would imagine the high will be reached at some point during that game.
Yeah.
So I bet when they start, it'll be at about 20 degrees. And it's not fun. They can function in it. And our man Stidham, he comes from Texas. Not the most cold weather in the world. Went up there to Auburn, played a few games up there on the plains. It does get a little chilly at times, but he played in New England before he even got to Denver. Now, let's talk a little bit about the man we just heard from on the Matt Mosley Show, and that is Jarrett Stidham. Kev, I would just say, I love it. There's Stidham. You don't have a lot of picture opportunities from him because he's only started like 4 games in his career in the NFL. One of them was when, after Russell Wilson had been benched toward the end of that season, he had one game where he was awesome and he threw for over 300 yards. Now, in his career, his numbers are just kind of whatever. 8 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I will say his teammates are, very sad for Bo Nix. But they love Stidham because he carries around a little jam box. Even they have a nickname for it. And he takes it back into the showers even, and it's called like Mr. Turtle. All right, is the name of the jam box, and his teammates love him. Like, he's just a cool guy to have around. Everybody's excited for him, and I expect the Denver defense to. Not that they weren't going to perform for Nix, but they know they got to kind of come out there and put on a show. And Benito and Surtain, and it's just, they have a tremendous defense, especially when it comes to getting to the quarterback. This has been a record-setting year in terms of the Broncos when it comes to getting to the quarterback. And what has Drake May done? Drake May has survived these playoffs. Drake May had a MVP caliber season, but in these playoffs, he is fumbling the ball. In fact, he's had 6 fumbles in the postseason. Now, fortunately, he hasn't turned all of those over, but the ball security has been a major point of emphasis this week. So Drake May needs to do that. I would say, it's interesting to me because these teams right now, Denver comes in. Oh, there he is, the great Vrabel. I would say that from a run defense standpoint, like here's what Peyton did that was so smart in that game the other day. He just ran the football, and they tried to do the best they could at keeping Josh Allen off the field. And then in the end, Josh Allen made too many turnovers, and they got enough takeaways, and they found a way to win that game. I think that'll be a part of the recipe. I do think they love Stidham, and he'll sling it around a little bit, but you do need to run the ball. You do need to control the clock. You do need to try to keep May off the field. And I do like that Harvey kid. I like that, what's his name? R.J. Harvey, the running back for the Broncos. He's going to help Stidham in the passing game. In that game last week, he not only had like 7 catches for about 45 or 50 yards, but he also, in that overtime, had a play where he broke a tackle out there in the passing game, that was a huge play in getting them to midfield, and then obviously they got into a situation because they called the pass interference. I did look at the officials in this game, Kev, since especially both of these teams were involved in games where pass interference was called, and especially the Broncos were the beneficiaries of that. This crew calling the AFC title game the 7th most PI calls this year.
Wow.
In the league. So I did take a peek at that. So we'll keep our eye on it. I mean, I would say Patriots have the advantage at quarterback. I would say they probably have the advantage at receivers close, because I do love Sutton for Broncos. I would say, but I like, Booty was awesome, man, in that game against the Texans. He was awesome in that game. Some of those catches he was making that put him away to put him up 28-16. So I like both receiving cores. I like the pass rush of the Broncos the most in this game, and I like the DBs for Denver a little bit more than Patriots, but Christian Gonzalez is a playing dude. That's a great, and I like the linebacker, that top linebacker for the Patriots. Spillane, is that who I'm thinking about? Is that Spillane? Anyway, I'm just making sure I got my team.
Robert Spillane?
Yeah. Spillane.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I just like him at linebacker. I like the way he moves. But I do think, man, if our man Stidham makes a mistake, Surtain is scary. But on the other side, Christian Gonzalez does not get enough attention. Really, really good for the Patriots. Okay, Kev, I want you to pick, and then I'll pick first.
Patriots are somewhere between 4.5 to 5.5 point favorites on the road.
Let's call it 5. For our purposes, let's call it 5. I've got the Broncos covering the 5 at home, but I have the Patriots winning this game outright. Broncos to cover. I think it's going to stay close. Going to keep this thing close, but I like the Patriots to win this game. Kev, where are you on this?
Well, it's defense that wins championships, and I can't argue with the Broncos' defense, but it's really coaching that makes a huge difference as well. And players just want to play for Vrabel. He does things coaching-wise with a team that are just uncanny. What he did with the Titans for years and years was just, how is he doing that with that team? I think that Travion Henderson will have one of his moments at some point in the game, and I also have the Broncos covering and the Patriots winning.
Okay. All right, we agree on that.
Yep. And we've talked. This is Mike versus Sean.
Okay.
And the next game is Mike versus Sean.
That's right. Very interesting. Okay, now, the line on this game, the Seahawks by
2.5.
I feel like that's
Across
up.
the board.
I felt like it was 1.5 when it opened. As it moved up just a little bit.
It's
all right. 2.5. Rams have the better quarterback. I think I want to say, I was about to say, because of Puka Nacua, I wanted to say they got the better receiver too, but Njigba is awesome.
Probably the offensive player of the year.
He is awesome. So that's a bit of a wash right there. So then we go to like the second receivers for those teams. I do like the veteran Adams. Devontae's been around for so long. Got no problem making big plays. He's made huge plays in big games before. So I think that, what a great security blanket for the quarterback, for Stafford. I give Stafford the edge. I also think we got to monitor this oblique. He did fine, but man, that they beat the brakes off of the 49ers. This is going to be a different animal. I will say this. The reason I'm leaning Rams is because Darnold's been so bad against the Rams. We're talking 1-3 against them, 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. A game earlier this season where I believe he threw 4 in one game. I like Darnold. I don't like his record, and I don't like the way he's played against the Rams. Give me the Rams to cover and the Rams to win outright in this one as they go on the road against the Seahawks, and we get what should be a bang-up game in the NFC title game. That kickoff, by the way, are we talking, 5:30?
Let's see.
What's it listed at? Because the earlier game is a 2 o'clock kickoff.
Right. Yeah.
5:30.
That's correct.
Okay, 5:30 kickoff in the NFC title game. One of the great. I mean, in fact, this day, in a lot of ways, is better than Super Bowl Sunday because we get 2 great games.
Yep.
And it means so much. But it's without all the Bad Bunny and the blah, 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 and the parties and the blah, 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 and people coming over. This is just, let's get together, maybe get a couple of buddies over, or maybe just with your wife, just sit there and watch some dang football.
Yeah.
All right? That's what this day is about.
Yeah. Okay, so I think the Seahawks have found the resurgence of their defense. The Ravens let Mike McDonald out of the building, and then everything went sideways with Harbaugh after that. But Stafford is on a mission here. But I think the absence of Charbonnet in the backfield for the Seahawks is going to play a bigger role than we could ever imagine. And I think that we are going to have a matchup of the two top MVP candidates in the league in the Super Bowl. So Rams cover. Incidentally, the Seahawks and Rams split the season and both won at home. So this would be the Rams' first win in Seattle in at least a year. But give me the Rams to cover and the Rams to win and the MVP matchup in the Super Bowl.
Wow, do we agree on both these games?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Doesn't it, when you say Chardonnay, I feel like, like somebody's going to have a glass of that this evening. Like, let's have a glass of Chardonnay. I'm not. I'm just going to, and I don't know, when you're holed up and you can't leave, I guess that's a safer time for people to
partake.
I guess, but it's just also kind of like somebody, I don't know. I don't know if it's so healthy when you can't really go out and take a walk and you're confined to whatever. I'm not going to tell everybody how to do their business. That Kenneth Walker, the third.
Yeah.
I like him though. When you see number 9 get rocking and get rolling, there's something about the way that guy runs and carries himself out there that he's a load, and he's got more speed than people realize. So I'm with you.
This is the site of the Beastquake back in the day.
Yeah. I like the way this guy runs, former Michigan State great. And I don't know, we'll see what the Rams. What do the Rams have at running back?
Kyron Lacey.
That's right.
And they got another guy.
Kyron. I like him too, just because he's one of those few. He'll bang it up in there. He's got a little power to him, but he's got plenty enough speed. He's good. I certainly like
Blake Corum as well.
Yeah. Blake Corum, the former Michigan running back who was on that Michigan national title team. Is that right? Blake Corum. Yep. That's who I remember. All right. Appreciate everybody who's been a part of this one. Good work. Hoosier Hall, Kevin. We're going to bunker down. I mean, again, barring your Rogue may have to shut down Monday. Kevin, fortunately, we're not beholden to whether our company's doors are open or not, because you and I have capability of doing things remotely. So unless we have just a true blackout situation or the grid fails us in every possible way, we will try to be with you Monday. All right, and be reacting to these AFC and NFC title games. And so, man, what a deal. What a deal. I'm making sure Kevin's not telling me something at the end of the show here. Oh, no, we're good. We're good. Babe Laufenberg, by the way, was reaching out, former Indiana quarterback. And we'll get Babe on soon. It was kind of fun to see some old highlights of Babe Laufenberg. He was one of when Lee Corso had Indiana going a little bit back in the, gosh, how long ago would that be? The 80s or something. Babe Laufenberg, my friend, was the quarterback of those Indiana Hoosiers. And he also had played at Stanford, I believe, but then he came to Indiana and actually did some good things. All right, Kev, it's been a good one. Thanks to everybody. Thanks to all our unbelievable sponsors. Thanks to Brazos Landing. Thank you, Lindsay's. So loyal. And with some of the big announcements coming, Brazos Landing is happier than ever to be associated with Rogue, because we may have big announcements in the future, and we'll have even the Brazos Landing will play even a larger role in the Mosley Show, and there may be another show that they're a part of coming to Rogue. Kevin, appreciate it. Everybody have a tremendous weekend. And last thing I want to say, I got a very close friend from Baylor. He happens to be a member of the Board of Regents. His name's Dr. Tyler Cooper, and he's battling a cancer diagnosis that came in recently, and it's a scary, scary time. But he is a powerful former long distance runner for the Baylor track and field team, cross country, the whole thing. And he is he's climbed just about every mountain in existence, all the 15ers and or 14ers, whatever we call them. This man is he is one tough dude. So he has a form of leukemia. It's aggressive, it's scary, all of that stuff, but he's going to fight it, and the doctors are fighting it. And anyway, I'm just thinking of him, and he may be watching. So if you are, Tyler, shout out to you. But a great member of the Baylor family who's got a tough battle ahead of him. But anyway, I may sneak in there to see him tonight. They're not seeing visitors because we want to not give him anything. But, I don't really always play by the rules. But anyway, thinking of him today, as we all are in the Baylor family. I was talking to some of the Baylor, some people up very high at Baylor, and everybody's been thinking about Tyler today. I was talking to Jason Cook, in fact, earlier, who's the Baylor chief marketing officer, and I don't know, he's in charge of many things over there. President Livingstone's been praying for Tyler, and the first gent, Brad, the whole gang. So anyway, we gotta have some extremely positive news coming, hopefully in the next week or so on that front. All right, it is the Mosley Show. It is thank you, Brazos Landing. Thank you, Central National Bank, and thank you, Kevin Hoosier Hall. Everybody have a tremendous weekend, and we will see you Monday at 1:00.
When you strive for greatness, you have a target on your back. And when it comes to finances, we're all targets for scammers. With the right game plan, you can protect yourself. Don't get faked by fraud.
Here's a tip. Don't click on links in emails and text messages. Scammers send emails and texts that look real, saying there's a problem with your account or your order. Don't click. Don't do it, ever. Instead, go directly to the company's website and log in there.
This message is brought to you by Central National Bank.
If you want the best for your body, you want Ascension Providence, the largest sports and orthopedics group in Central Texas. Using innovative and cutting-edge technology, we're able to understand your body better than ever, delivering treatment with precision. And with our fellowship-trained and board-certified doctors, you'll receive excellent care. Work with a team dedicated to your health, wellness, and safety,
so you can perform
at your best.
Ascension Providence, caring for Texas families for over 120 years.
Bubble wasn't here. I don't know what people would be doing, like making PowerPoints or something. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.